Daniel, how you doing, man?
Hey Shane, what's up, bro? Doing great. So,
Good to hear.
yeah, yeah. What's on the menu for today?
What's the soup du jour? Um,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk today about how to just really remind ourselves of our value and how we should not settle for things in life, that we should have standards, and that really, you are a prize. You might not you might not believe it, you might not even know it, but we all have some value, value that we can bring to the world, whether it's your career, your family, your friends, a potential partner, or your current partner. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about today.
Yes. So having a standards, knowing your worth, and once you have clarity on recognizing what you deserve, you basically give yourself permission to go for those things. Most of the times we don't realize, how valuable we are or what's our worth. And so that's why we don't really do anything. So I think the first thing in order to be that type of person and know that you're valuable is to recognize the things that you want in life that will make you happy. So know what you're aiming for. Do you want to make a certain amount of money every year? If that's the case, then write it down and start working towards that. See, by doing these things, you're recognizing how much you want to make and what you're worth, what you deserve. And because you have this type of clarity, you can start working on those things. Don't just come at the thing by saying, "Oh, I'm valuable. I, I have all these standards," but then you don't know, what those standards are. You need to have the clarity, like I said. And so at least that's what's working for me in my own life. In the past, I didn't really know what I was doing, and yeah, I could spend all day telling myself how um, how valuable I am, how special I am. But unless I back it out, I back it up, I back up that belief with knowing exactly what I was doing and why I was doing it, my words were meaningless. So so that's just an idea. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, and we want to clarify here. We're not just saying you sit down one day and you're talking to the mirror to yourself, oh, I'm the prize, and that's it. Game over. I'm done. No, it's not that. If it was that simple, we could all do that, right? It's a combination of we have to believe it, but you also have to put the work in, put the effort in, kind
Hmm.
of like Daniel was saying. Um, Recognize what you want, what you won't put up with,
Right.
and and what you can do to start achieving those things. So in Daniel's example, let's say the job or your career. Let's say you don't like your job or you don't make the money that you want to make. Well, you have two options. You have to learn to deal with it or accept it, or you got to make a change. Get your resume up to date, start applying the jobs, start networking, um, maybe get some extra skills or do a course or certificate or something. Um, those are all at least some steps that you're working towards. And, if you really put the effort in my experience, if you put effort in, you will see results sooner or later. So unless you're just lucky or happen to be the right place, right time, you probably won't see any changes. So
Hmm. Yeah, so many things, Shane, that you just mentioned. It sounds to me like it's about having boundaries about the
yeah,
things that you want and the things that you won't put up with. And I mean, doing this personal development journey is not the easiest thing because it requires it requires to take action. It requires to do things that perhaps we're not used to, and it requires to get it requires us to get out of our comfort zone into doing things that we never tried before. If you want different results, then you need to do different things, different approaches that you haven't considered in the past. What you've been doing so far hasn't gotten you the results you want, then I guess the most obvious thing for you to do is to change those things. But for you, in order to make those changes, you need to start looking at other ideas that are not very easy to do because they require you to, like I said, get out of your comfort zone. And so it's not easy, right? I keep going back to that idea. It's, being the price and not settling. It requires a lot of work, and that's why not many people do it. There's only a few that are courageous enough that they take the plunge and go for that. And so it's a worthy ideal in my opinion, and it's not for everybody. So if you're here today and listening to us talk about this, it's perhaps because you have that potential within yourself.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that may not feel like this is the right path for them, and that's okay. It's not for everybody.
Yes. And everybody has their own destinations, their own pace, their own challenges. And so there's no one size fits all, it's whatever's right for you. In my men's group, we recently read a book called Unfuck Yourself by Gary Bishop. Mm-hmm. And in there, he talks about different principles, but one of them was, and this one's, I kind of mentioned it already. Basically, it's a concept of try to recognize or realize what are you willing to put up with or deal with or to have, or you can flip it and say unwilling to. So I'm unwilling to be in a crappy job that I hate, for example. Or I'm willing to maybe leave my current job or my current partner because I'm not happy, or because to find something better, or because I want to focus on my side business, or focus on friends and family, or whatever it might be, fill in the blanks. So I try to do that as well. Like I try to, if it's something that's important to me, I try to sit down and go, what am I willing or unwilling to do? And it'll kind of bring some clarity of like, well, okay, maybe this isn't dire, but what else? What else do I want to change or work on? And you'll kind of fill in those blanks with that question, and you can kind of get an idea of where your areas of need are. Because people watching and listening are probably like, well, I don't know, or it's overwhelming. And I get it. I mean, and again, we kind of repeat ourselves here, but me and Daniel are working on our own stuff, kind of together, but also individually. Of course, we have our own kind of different goals and destinations and paths we're working on. And so it's a daily grind, and it's a lot of unknowns. And another thing this guy mentioned in this book, the Unfuck Yourself book, he said, think about some of the greats, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, Steve Jobs, very successful people. Do you think they never had doubts? Of course they did, and probably daily, probably multiple times a day of what am I doing? Or I'm a failure, or I'm going to fail, or they didn't know their next step, but yet they all succeeded in the end because they kept going and they kept grinding, and they kept, if they made a mistake, they recognize it, they fix it, and they moved on. They don't just sit on the sidelines wondering what if. They move forward.
Yes, well said. It's about continuing the journey despite all the obstacles. And there is gonna be difficult days for people like us that are on their grind every day, trying to become better and self-develop. So expect those difficult days, because they're gonna come. But it's about how you react to the obstacles rather than feeling like you're defeated and you don't want to continue doing it anymore and you quit completely. You just understand that this is just part of the journey. This is part of the process. And so something that has really helped me lately is just reminding myself that on my dark, difficult days, I reflect on these ideas and I tell myself, hey, if this is feeling hard today, it's actually a good thing that it's difficult because this means that I'm moving in the right direction. This means that what I'm doing right now is actually, growing me and it's okay. So it definitely helps me and changes my mindset about how I react to the problems and the struggles. And so if you can have the type of resilience to stay the course despite all the things happening in your life, then you'll become the next Michael Jordan or, all these superstars that triumph in the end is because they knew how to react in moments of hardship and they kept going one day at a time. They kept moving that needle every single day. And so, yeah, again, it's not about being or feeling invincible every day, 24/7. It's about being really devoted to the craft and knowing that there are going to be obstacles in your way, but it's about how you navigate around them and how you, like I said, stay the course no matter what.
That's true. Now, ultimately, this is a dating podcast. We want to talk about men, women, relationships, dating, polarity, all those things. So let's kind of shift this over to that now. So, for example, for the men, you're out there maybe approaching women, talking to women, you're online, talking to women, trying to get matches and dates. I know, well, I assume, Daniel, I've been in this position where we're more or less settling because we don't think we're a prize or that we bring much, or that the woman, just by a woman, she's more valuable than us, right? We put her on her pedestal, as the saying goes. And we're settling with women who we're less than enthusiastic about, or maybe we're putting up with bad behavior, like, I don't know, bad communication, flakiness, being late, rudeness, all kinds of things. But hope she likes me, so I guess I'll date her. A few years ago, I'm not really big into New Year's resolutions or whatever, and this isn't really a resolution, but it was more of I don't know, a mantra to myself. And it was just, I need to respect myself more and just put up with less BS. Put us don't settle for less than what I deserve and what I feel like is right. Now that being said, you're going to have slips, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to have miscomings. But I've noticed that over the last few years, overall, I've been doing a lot better with not putting up with that kind of just stuff. Just whatever it is in my life, if it's whether it's a friendship or something at work or with dating, and just having those standards, having those boundaries, and realizing, wait a minute, I do have value. Whether it's X, Y, and Z. I know my shortcomings too. Don't just focus on your shortcomings, focus on your positives, what you're bringing to the table. And try to enhance those behaviors and those attributes, and people will notice. So what do you think about that, Daniel? Any experience with that with your life, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think that naturally, if you follow this path of becoming a better person, a better human being, a better man, you will naturally attract higher quality women in your life. because I think that like attracts like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So
Hmm.
I think
Wait.
you will feel so qualified and so proud of who you're becoming that you will only allow high quality people in your life, and that includes women. So you won't date just anyone. When in the past you were like, oh, I can just settle for, like Rosita down the street, who's a crackhead or whatever, But I just want to sleep with her, basically. But
Yeah.
because you're on this self development journey, you will start having higher standards because you're working your ass off every single day. So you expect the same from others. And as I said, you're naturally going to elevate those standards to only allow high quality people in your life. And so
Mhm.
again, you won't just date anyone. And it's funny, but once you start recognizing your value and your worth, you naturally become more attractive also. And women will
Mhm.
start noticing you and choosing you rather than you trying to always chase them. What do you think?
Oh, totally. And I always like I said, we want this podcast to be for everybody, not just for men or not just for women. So it's the same thing for women, for the ladies out there. If realize your value. I know you're going to have your days where you don't, maybe you feel ugly or you're in a bad mood or you got to fight with your best friend or something, but those are just little bumps in the road. I mean, you got to know what your value is, know what you bring to the table as well, and don't put up with bad behavior from your friends or from men that you're dating. There's no reason to put up with that. Um, you got to be willing to walk away. Don't be afraid to walk away, and this can be from friendships too. I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
I know a friend right now who's kind of gone through a couple. She's cut out a couple of friends in her life because they were just bad, toxic people, and it's tough to do that. And but you got to do it sometimes, and it's you got to think about your long term health and your long term mental and emotional health. Because if you have bad people in your life or you have a bad partner, you're gonna always be stagnant. So you got to be willing to walk away.
It's easier to filter out all these people, toxic people from your life when you are working on yourself daily. When
Yes.
you are doing the work and being focused on your path.
Yes.
It's funny to me to realize that once I started focusing on myself,
Mhm.
everything else I wanted came as a byproduct of that. And so if you're not working on yourself, if you're being lazy, you're procrastinating every day, then of course you're gonna settle for anyone because I mean you're lazy. You have no standards. Now, if you do the opposite, which is not easy, again, we go back to the same thing. It's not easy to self-develop. It's not easy to grow and improve yourself. But if you're doing it, then you're naturally going to attract this kind of people, and you're also going to be wary of the people that you allow into your life. See, so you can raise your standards by just being not a workaholic, but being knowledgeable about the things that you want in life. So I guess, yeah, I'm just gonna end it with that, like having clarity. clarity on the things that you want, self-awareness of where you're going, what you want to share with the world, if you will. Everybody has something to share with the world, by the way. So I guess the first thing then would be to realize and recognize the things that you can share with others that they can benefit from, because that's your mission. And once you find that mission for your life, then everything else will just be added to you. There's a good book by Simon Sinek, I think is the author, and the book is called Start with Why. It's basically about, finding out the reason why you're here and finding that mission for your life. Once you find that mission and start going after it, which is not going to be easy, of course, but if you're doing it, then everything else around you will improve. Your relationships, your income, everything. And so I'm starting to live these ideas for myself. And what I'm starting to realize is that the journey is 3-4 times more difficult than I anticipated.
Mm.
But that's okay, because I know I'm on the right track. I know because I can feel it, and you will feel it too once you tap on this why that I was talking about. Once you tap on this mission that you need to accomplish before you die. So yeah, start asking the right questions for yourself. Like, why am I here? What am I trying to do? And then once you dissect it, once you decide it, I'm sorry, once you know what it is, you can, give yourself permission to go after it, and your life will radically change, and you will become, everything you're meant to be.
That's well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of
Anything
yeah
else?
we're getting real big picture here now, um, but that's very well said. If it all kind of ties together. It's all a big circle. If you focus on what you're good at, what you want to improve, and you really hit on that, that's all gonna help you with your confidence, and you're gonna really start to realize your value,
Yes.
your worth.
Yes. You're gonna, the standards will just come to you because, okay, yes, I know what I'm going for. I know what I'm gonna be sharing with people. So yes, I have standards, and everything just becomes easier after that.
Yep. And I wanted to take it back one step, kind of back to the dating part, especially if you're in a relationship. I haven't really experienced this myself, but I know it's a thing where one partner, doesn't matter if it's a man or woman, isn't maybe as supportive as they could be with their partner. Now, granted, there's a line, like I'm not going to set the house on fire, but you get my idea. Like your partner should be your biggest fan, your biggest cheerleader, your biggest support, your safety net, all those things. And so if you're with someone who is always negative or trying to bring you down or hold you back and just tear you down, and why would you do that, or why are you doing that, or just being critical, you might want to take a step back and either talk to that person and see why they're doing that, or you might want to step back and, is this the right person for me? This goes back to the whole what we're talking about, the prize and standards, because if you're trying to better yourself and someone else isn't, they're probably trying to hold you back because they know that they're lazy and they don't want you to leave them behind.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a good opportunity to exercise a boundary and a standard right there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think that people change, and we're supposed
Yes.
to change. If you're not like having the same relationship with that person when you than when you first met him, it's because you are evolving into a different person now. Back when you first met him, you were at a different level, if you will. You weren't the same person you are now. And so it's obvious that when you start talking about these ideas about wanting to find your mission and purpose and going after it, the other person is not used to that because that person didn't meet you like the person you are now talking about all these other ideas. So for them, it's gonna be scary to see you change. And like Shane said, they want to keep you in the same place. They want to keep you stagnant. But you're not about being stagnant anymore. You want to evolve, you want to grow. But not everybody is like this. That's why we started this episode saying that this is not for everybody. A lot of people rather be stagnant in life and they want to be the same forever. They don't want to change. The thing with change is change requires a lot of work. And again, we not everybody likes to work
Yeah.
and take action, you know?
And now you're probably all thinking like, okay, this is great, guys. I get it. Or what do I do? What do I start? I mean, some things I can think about, and I've done this before in different ways and different times. And these, keep in mind, this might change, but I think a couple things we can do. And it might sound a little cheesy, but just go with it. Just go with me for a second. When it comes to dating or friendships or even career, again, the whole willing, unwilling thing, write down 3 to 5 non-negotiables that you're not willing to put up with, or that you just have a hard line with those things. Like maybe someone who smokes, you can't date a smoker, for example. Or you want someone who has the same faith as you, whatever it could be. Just really think about those, have those kind of written down somewhere where you can see them in your phone or something, or a note card or something. And then about the whole standards and your value, your worth, you might be like, well, I don't have anything good. You do. You got to have something. Just start writing down things. And if it's 5 things, if it's 50 things, and even if it seems stupid or small, write it down. You got something. You might be a great kazoo player. I mean, I don't know. You might make a good omelet or something. You have some skills, you have value, you have worth. Write it down. Read it from time to time, or read it when you're feeling low, or when you go to bed, or when you wake up, whatever it is. And you will start to get that mind shift of, I do have some value. Here's some weaknesses. Here's some strengths. Now you got kind of a guided system to go off of. Have you done something like that before, Daniel? Like non-negotiables or strengths or things like
Yes.
that?
Yeah, definitely. Uh, Very good advice, Shane.
Yeah.
Just focusing on your strengths. And
Yes.
these non-negotiables shouldn't just be for the people around you. These non-negotiables could also be for yourself. Like, what are you willing to put up with
Ah, yeah.
with the things that you do? Like, there are things that perhaps you shouldn't be doing that
Yeah.
you need to watch out for.
Yeah. Maybe it's diet, maybe it's exercise, maybe you're addicted to porn or video games or tobacco or
Hmm.
social media. It could be all
Right.
kinds of. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I heard this idea. It was really interesting to me. The guy, rather than doing to-do lists, he would do not to-do lists because he understood that there are things that we are doing that we shouldn't be doing, and
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
stop us from becoming better. And so non-negotiables are good, but figure out what those are for yourself. Maybe that will, you know, help you grow faster.
That's true. So yeah, guys, we're gonna try to wrap it up here to summarize. Think about your non-negotiables. I love Daniel. I love that idea about yourself too. That's a good place, good thing. We got to look in the mirror sometimes too, so that's a good place to start. But write down your strengths, so you know what you got. Write down the things that maybe your weaknesses or things that you want to work on. Kind of going back to the beginning of the episode of what am I unwilling or willing to work with or not work with, and and also just don't overwhelm yourself. Just try to pick the most pertinent thing on the list and work on that one thing. But keep focusing on your strengths in the meantime, and you'll probably end up adding strengths or thinking of more as you go. And it's a slow process, but it will work.
Yep. And I just read this quote. Hopefully I can remember it right now. But it went something like this: easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. So becoming the price is gonna be a hard choice in many regards because it requires a lot of work from your part. But again, remember the quote: hard choices, easy life. So if you want to have an easy life, I mean, life is never easy, but if you want to enjoy your life better, I think it's more like
Better
what the
life.
quote is trying to say.
Yeah.
Then it is going to require a lot of you so that you can really start working on your stuff and making the changes that you want to see in your life.
Daniel, my man, I love that. That's a good way to end it. I don't think we should. I think we hit the point home, everybody. So
All
cool,
right.
man.
All right, Shane. Thanks for another great conversation. We'll see you around.
All right, have a good next episode, guys.